This is News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon and welcome to Live at 4.
Developing now, Sun Prairie's East High School is making a change to its leadership.
Renee Coleman will no longer serve as the school's principal, according to a message sent to staff. Coleman held the position since 2021. A reason for her departure was not given. All school programs, activities, and services are expected to continue. Associate Athletic Director Jim Ertel will serve as interim principal for the rest of the school year. The new search for a new principal will begin early next year.
And we now know the name of a man who died after crashing into the Yahara River. The Dane County Medical Examiner says 47-year-old Christopher K. Mosby of Fitchburg died early Monday. This was after his car went into the water near West Broadway and Pirate Island. A Monona police officer found his car upside down in the river at about 1 in the morning. The medical examiner says early results show Mosby died from drowning. More testing is underway. His death remains under investigation. Police say speed was a factor, but there's no evidence of suspicious activity.
Now to McDonald's E. coli outbreak.
Wisconsin is one of the 10 states impacted. Tanisha Shaw talked to experts about what you should know.
More than 45 people are impacted by an E. coli outbreak. All of them ate a quarter pounder from McDonald's with contaminated ingredients.
You shouldn't be worried inherently any more right now than any other time as far as eating out.
The Center for Disease Control is reporting one person dead. These cases are causing some stores to stop selling the burger or remove onions off the sandwich. I bought a quarter pounder from a McDonald's here in Middleton. When I open it up, you can see the sesame seed bun, onions, pickles, ketchup, and of course the infamous patty. Now this looks pretty standard for a quarter pounder, and that makes sense. When I talked to employees inside, they said nothing has changed about the way they make the quarter pounder.
Almost all the time when there's an outbreak of a gastrointestinal organism like this E. coli, it has to do with people not washing their hands properly and transferring from one person to another. And so that then could lead to contamination of any type of food.
Tonight at 5, the symptoms you should know about and who's at risk. Reporting in Middleton, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
All right, let's get a look at your first warn forecast now with Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington out on the patio. Nice fall day, Alex.
It is. Relatively speaking, I'm used to 80-degree weather like much of southern Wisconsin. Stepped outside, I'm like, ooh. It's a little bit cooler out here than what I'm used to. Probably could use my jacket, so I'll put my jacket on a little bit later. We also have, in addition to our cooler temperatures, we've got a really good chance of rain. Look at Thursday night, how that just kind of sticks out there. Widespread rain across southern Wisconsin. We're going to track that in just a little bit coming up in Maine weather. The next chance of rain will be with the cold front next week, and more on that also in Maine weather. The best chances for rain will be after 7 o'clock Thursday night, going through the early hours Friday morning through, let's say, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then those rain chances go down. And this is really for all of southern Wisconsin, not just Madison. Now, I said it was a bit on the cooler side. It's 60 degrees out here. Normal high is 56. I'm just not used to it yet. A little bit cooler to the northwest, a little bit warmer to the southeast. We get 63 in Janesville, but cooler off towards Camp Douglas at 58. Right here in Dane County, 60, 61 degrees. Again, this is above normal for this time of year, but we're all used to the 20-degree above normal temperatures, and eventually we'll acclimate to temperatures getting a little bit more fall-like. Fall-like tonight, temperatures dip down into the low 40s by 10 o'clock. Coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes, let's track that line of showers. Could we have some thunderstorms? And how much water can you expect with this next good chance of rain?
Alex, thank you. The IRS's adjusted tax brackets for 2025 are out. Each year, the agency makes slight changes to our tax brackets to account for inflation. Next year, the amount deducted from your income before the rest is taxed will go up to $15,000 for single filers and $30,000 for joint filers. Another important change, the earned income tax credit for low to middle income filers will increase to a maximum $8,046. Next year's tax bracket changes represent the smallest jump in annual income thresholds in several years. That's due to cooling inflation.
A new poll from Quinnipiac shows the presidential race tied in Wisconsin. 48% of likely voters say they're backing Vice President Kamala Harris. The same amount supports former President Donald Trump. All third-party candidates received less than 1% point. This shows growth in support for Harris, who is behind 2 points behind Trump in the last poll from Quinnipiac on October 9th.
Trump's running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, will be campaigning in Racine next week. Vance is returning to Wisconsin just over a week after his last visit in Waukesha. He'll speak at Racine Memorial Hall on Monday night at 5:30, just 8 days from Election Day. We're expecting Vance to criticize Harris for economic issues and tout Trump's plans for the economy. He's also expected to encourage Wisconsinites to vote early.
Crime, policing, and law enforcement have been at the center of political conversation over the past 4 years.
And as we look towards the next 4, our Maddie Himes brings us perspectives from local law enforcement on how their jobs could be affected. Maddie?
Yeah, here in Wisconsin, sheriffs are elected as partisan officials, but arguably most of what they do is not political. I sat down with 2 local sheriffs on both sides of the aisle to hear how they're serving our communities this election season. Columbia County Sheriff Roger Brandner was elected to his current term in 2022 as a Republican. Rock County Sheriff Kurt Fell was elected at the same time. He ran as a Democrat, but they both tell me that their party affiliation wears off when they put on their uniforms.
We are really a split community, and it's important for us as community members, but law enforcement especially, to not play politics with that.
So we do our best to make sure that the political aspect doesn't come into our agency at all, because it's not the right thing to do.
Now, this isn't to say that national rhetoric doesn't affect their jobs. Both tell me whether it's policy, funding, or public perception of law enforcement, their work can be affected by what happens at the polls. But what's most important, they say, is the way they serve everyone in our communities. And right now, they tell me their main focus isn't who will win the election, but keeping polling places safe and secure. I'll bring you more on News 3 Now at 5.
Maddie, thank you. Winter is right around the corner, and that means things will get colder. Sidewalks will need shoveling, and you'll need to buy salt. The City of Fitchburg Department of Public Works wants to remind you that while salting helps enhance safety, you should be conscious of how much you use. Just 1 teaspoon of salt can pollute up to 5 gallons of water, making it toxic for freshwater ecosystems. Municipalities around the states use tons of salt to keep roads safe, but SaltWise Program Manager Allison Madison says there are many ways to ensure safety while reducing salt use.
So it's calibrating equipment, it's utilizing brine both before the storm to prevent the formation of a bond between snow and the pavement, kind of like putting a little oil on your skillet, right? You prevent the bond from forming between food and the skillet, and it comes up much more easily.
For more information on how to reduce salt use at your home or in your community, go to wisaltwise.com.
Well, later on Live at 4, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will join us with your plant questions.
And to submit it, she's excited. To submit a concern, send an email to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa will be on air answering your questions within the hour. Again, just submit your plant questions to tips@channel3000.com.
Coming up, how many kids in Wisconsin are considered chronic absentees.
And new allegations from Trump's former chief of staff, how the former president's responding when we're back.
Welcome to Oakmont Senior Community in Verona. Active seniors 55 plus will enjoy our new luxury apartments, professionally managed by award-winning Attic Angel. Call Demery today for a tour and reserve your place at Oakmont.
When I was 5, I began getting sexually abused by my stepfather, and he got me pregnant when I was 12. "64,000 pregnancies from rape have occurred in states with total abortion bans. And Trump did this. Women and girls need to have choices. With Kamala Harris, we do."
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
This is Good News, Madison. Brought to you by Don's Home Furniture.
Overture Center's mission is to support and elevate the community's creative culture through the arts. So 2024 marks the 20th anniversary of the opening of Overture Center for the Arts, and we are celebrating all of what we call the O moments that people experience when they come to Overture.
And that is Good News, Madison, brought to you by Don's Home Furniture.
Donald Trump intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations, to cut Social Security and Medicare, to impose what is in effect a national sales tax. When I am president, I will bring down the cost of groceries. My tax plan will give 100 million more Americans a tax cut. And unlike Donald Trump, I will always put the middle class and working families first.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Sometimes the smallest cracks can cause the biggest chills. And something sinister is lurking in the shadows.
What was that?
To survive, they must seal their fate.
Not working.
With Feldco.
50% off Windows ends soon. Come now.
This fall, watch out for The Draft.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Welcome to Oakmont Senior Community in Verona. Active seniors 55 plus will enjoy our new luxury apartments, professionally managed by award-winning Attic Angel. Call Demery today for a tour and reserve your place at Oakmont.
The Wisconsin Policy Forum says chronic absenteeism in Wisconsin is at a historically high level.
Last school year, nearly 20% of Wisconsinites K-12 students were chronically absent. That's an improvement from the year before when the rate was nearly 23%. Still, last year's rate of chronic absenteeism was 6% more than it was in 2019. The students with the worst levels were high school seniors, but students with the biggest jump in chronic absenteeism from 2019 are first graders. Now, the State Department of Public Instruction defines chronic absenteeism as missing at least a tenth of possible attendance days, including excused absences. That amounts to students missing about 3 weeks of the school year. Wisconsin is not an outlier, though. All parts of the country are experiencing high levels of chronic absenteeism after the pandemic.
One of the researchers for Wisconsin Policy Forum tells us that some students struggle more than others.
We also see some disparities present across lines of race and ethnicity. We see disparities present across lines of economic disadvantage. Generally, students of color are more chronically absent than white students and economically disadvantaged students.
Brown also offered solutions to the issue that have been said to work.
A lot just revolves around districts having really consistent communication with both their communities and the parents of students who are chronically absent, putting a lot of resources and the time and effort of school staff into making sure that students who are chronically absent return to school and catch up on their education.
Brown says that could involve having a staff member devoted to addressing the issue, but that strategies will not look the same in each community. He also says there is no evidence to support the theory that punishing students is a good way to get them back into the classroom.
Tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris will participate in a town hall with CNN in Pennsylvania. CNN had previously proposed to host a debate between Harris and Trump, which the former president declined. Both candidates were then offered to attend a town hall, which Trump also declined. During the town hall, Harris's campaign will launch a new ad focused on abortion rights, highlighting the story of a woman who was denied an abortion and went into septic shock.
Meanwhile, Trump is rallying in Duluth, Georgia. His campaign currently dealing with allegations from a former member of his administration. In interviews with the New York Times and The Atlantic, Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, spoke about what he heard from his boss while working in the White House. Take a listen.
He's certainly an authoritarian, admires people who are dictators. He has said that.
Kelly went on to say Trump expressed a desire for his military personnel to show him the same loyalty the Nazis showed Hitler, and that the former president doesn't understand the Constitution or the values on which the United States was built. A Trump campaign spokesperson dismissed the interview and told the Times Kelly, quote, beclowned himself.
Well, let's get a look at your firstborn weather forecast. Chief Meteorologist is in the studio now. I think some rain, maybe some frost, Alex?
All of the above. Yes, we have some frost chances tonight. You got it, Mary. You can come over here and use this clicker right here. You're higher. That is a good portion of our forecast, the frost potential tonight. As we plan our evening, our temperatures will eventually slip down into the 30s. You got clear skies, light winds. As that occurs, that's that perfect recipe for that frost to develop, which probably won't be until we get a little bit closer to the wee hours of the morning, especially in those low-lying areas. So a fall-like evening, not one of those mild evenings that we've been experiencing these past many nights. Could get as cold as 32 in Lone Rock, 37 in Baraboo, 35 in Madison, 33 in Janesville. This is what we should expect for this time of year across southern Wisconsin, but not this. We're back into the 60s. Probably few complaints. Clouds will be on the increase out ahead of another weather system that will bring a good chance of rain, as Merrill was saying, to southern Wisconsin. This is updating here, 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms from Madison, Dells points off to the west. Look how widespread this is as we head towards 11 o'clock. Widespread showers and thunderstorms for much of southern Wisconsin. We're not expecting severe weather with this line of showers and storms. We'll be missing some ingredients like high humidity. This weather system will bring more of the garden variety thunderstorms, loud thunder, lightning, and maybe the potential for some small hail and heavy rain. And then it's out of here. By the time we get towards 3 o'clock Friday morning, it's pushed off towards the south and towards the east. Its quick nature is going to limit the overall rainfall potential, quarter, maybe upwards of a ½ inch across southern Wisconsin. And I do want to emphasize the line is scattered, so there are going to be a couple little pockets that don't see that quarter to ½ inch of rainfall. But fingers crossed, all of southern Wisconsin gets that quarter to ½ inch, because we need it. As we head towards the upcoming weekend, this is that really nice fall-like temperatures we're expecting. And then look at Tuesday, how that sticks out there. Look at the low temperature Tuesday morning, 60 degrees. That's out ahead of a strong weather system that could bring some thunderstorms to us as we go later Tuesday into Wednesday. And you may be wondering about Halloween looking normal this year. Temperatures in the 50s, maybe a little bit of night frost. And I want to thank Verlin for sending us this weather photo. This is of the supermoon just a couple of nights ago. All Verlin did, scan that QR code, links you right up to channel3000.com/weather. And then again, we can show these stunning pictures on our 4 o'clock show.
Wow, that moon looks like the sun, Alex. Thank you. Today, union workers at Boeing will vote on a new contract proposal that could end their 5-week-long strike. The deal that would raise their pay 35% over 4 years. That's up from 30% the company offered last month. It would also boost upfront bonuses from $6,000 to $7,000. The proposal does not, however, include the union's demand to restore the traditional pension plan, but it does increase the company's match in its 401k plan.
A study from the scientific journal Diagnostics shows a quick shake of the head after a hard hit could signal a concussion. The movement's known as a spontaneous head shake after a kinematic event, or shake. Researchers talked to hundreds of young athletes and found most were familiar with the gesture and experienced it themselves. In nearly 75% of cases, those surveyed said they had a concussion at the time of the shake. Authors of the study say this could help identify undiagnosed concussions in the future.
The federal government is slapping American Airlines with $50 million fine for violating rules protecting people in wheelchairs. An investigation from the Department of Transportation found American had serious violations of disabled passenger rules between 2019 and 2023. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says American mishandled and damaged thousands of wheelchairs and failed to give adequate assistance to disabled passengers. American says it takes all such complaints seriously and works to fix them.
A tech firm says would-be criminals could have detailed instructions on how to break the law thanks to ChatGPT. Tech firm Strise says ChatGPT can be tricked into giving detailed advice on how to carry out a range of crimes. The firm says in one instance, ChatGPT came up with advice on how to launder money across borders, and in another, it revealed how to help businesses evade sanctions. In response, an OpenAI spokesperson says the company is constantly improving ChatGPT to make it better at blocking deliberate attempts to trick it.
The White House says at least 3,000 North Korean soldiers are in eastern Russia, helping them fight their war against Ukraine. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin confirmed this earlier today, but said what exactly North Korean troops are doing there is uncertain. The U.S. does not think North Korean troops have reached Ukraine, but its movements have generated a deep concern of potentially serious escalation in the conflict.
New information, Turkey's defense ministry says its jets have struck Kurdish militant targets in Iraq and Syria following an attack on a key defense company. At least 4 people died and more than a dozen got hurt after the attack on Turkey's state-run aerospace company earlier today. The Turkish government has called the incident a terrorist attack. This was on the outskirts of Turkey's capital city, again at the country's aerospace industry's headquarters.
In the Middle East, Hezbollah has confirmed a possible successor to the group's late leader is dead. The group said that happened during an Israeli attack in Beirut. Israel's strikes in Lebanon are ongoing as the U.S. Secretary of State is in the region trying to get Israel to end both of its wars. Meanwhile, in Gaza, medicine, food, and fuel are all in short supply. A UN report has warned Israel that the war with Hamas could set Gaza back nearly 7 decades.
Well, still ahead, don't forget to submit your planned questions to Lisa to tips@channel3000.com.
And one final way you can help us kids in Dane County this winter. We'll be right back.
The other side is lying to scare you. Truth is, Joan Ballweg is a champion for women's health care. She fought hard to expand healthcare access for postpartum moms and supports access for IVF and birth control. We're voting for Joan Ballweg because she votes for women like us.
My husband and I were elated to find out that we would be having another baby. But after many tests, my doctors agreed that we had to terminate the pregnancy. It was the worst day of my life. You should know that Eric Hubdy supports laws that stop me and my doctor from making that decision. And that's a ban with no exceptions in cases of rape or incest. It's a ban that could turn doctors into criminals. He opposes abortion. Period.
WIN Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hubdy, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
With high inflation, working families like mine are hurting, and Kamala Harris helped create this mess. Now, while Americans struggle, Kamala spent our tax dollars putting illegal immigrants up in hotel rooms, and she supported spending our tax dollars to give illegals sex changes. It's not just liberal, it's insane. Kamala Harris can never, ever be our president.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
How extreme is Todd Novak? He thinks a woman's most private medical decisions should be up to him. Todd Novak has a 100% anti-abortion rating. He supports letting politicians ban abortion with no exceptions for rape, incest, or to save a woman's life. And Todd Novak authored the law to ban abortion here in Wisconsin. Elizabeth Grabe will defend abortion rights. She knows private medical decisions are between women and their doctors.
Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. That's Kieski's record, expensive and extreme.
In the 608, we're getting ready to hand out coats for kids in Dane County following all your generous donations over the last month.
Josh Sprider is in Madison with how Distribution Day will work on Friday.
So since we were here at the storage facility for the Boys and Girls Club in Madison, we've made a lot of movement. You can see all the bins where we've been working on sorting the different sizes. From the sorting room, we have all of the racks that were donated. You can see all of the different sizes, larges, mediums, all the way down to small. So that's the work that's been done, but we still have a lot of work to do. Take a look at this room. That's a lot of donations, and we still need to go through them within the next 48 hours. So we're going to need your help to make it happen. Renee Sigel with the Boys and Girls Club is joining us. Renee, good to see you.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
Oh, my gosh. Wonderful. We have a long way to go, but you guys are really happy with where things are right now.
Yeah, we're really excited. You know, we have a room full of coats. However, we've already counted about 1,600 towards our goal of 5,000.
So that's a big deal, and I know you guys are gearing up for Distribution Day, which is this coming Friday. It's going to be at your locations in Madison, Fitchburg, and Sun Prairie. So how does Distribution Day work?
Yeah, great question. So there's no registration. I believe last year there was. So between the hours of 9 a.m. and 6 p.m., go to any one of our 3 locations in Madison, Sun Prairie, Fitchburg, and get your coat. We have so many sizes and colors to choose from. Look at this one.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't this adorable?
It's adorable. And this is an opportunity for families to come in, and it's just like going to the store. Like, you get an opportunity to find something that's going to be your personality for your kids.
Absolutely. We really want to create a shopping experience for our community, and we want them to be able to pick out a style that fits their personality well.
And we know this is important living in Wisconsin. That cold will be here before we know it.
Oh yeah, even overnight, the temperature's already dropped.
Yes, yeah, big deal. So obviously you're taking a look now at the room of sorting that needs to be done. So this is why volunteers are still needed for you guys.
We definitely need more hands. We need more hands to sort these coats before Friday. We've got a lot of work to do, and volunteers are able to sign up right through our website.
So we set a pretty big goal of 5,000 coats this year. We're a little shy of that, so you're also asking people for financial donations at this point.
Absolutely. There's still time to donate. Financial contributions can also be made through our website. That allows us to go and buy new coats and get them ready to go for Friday.
That's going to be a big day on Friday. Yeah. Renee, thank you so much. Of course, yeah, we're always looking for your help here. Take a look at this room one more time. We need volunteers. We need some hands. So if you'd like to learn about how you can help, both volunteering or financial, just go to the story up on channel3000.com. In Madison, I'm Josh Brighter, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Josh. Later at Live at 4, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will join us to answer your plant questions.
To submit a concern, send an email to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa will be answering those questions within the hour. Again, submit your questions to tips@channel3000.com.
And still ahead, to help combat the misuse of prescription drugs.
Plus, will be heard in court today at a hearing about whether to bring charges against a dog breeder accused of abuse.
Discover the charm of Oregon, Wisconsin. Enjoy the bike trails, parks, and outdoor activities, the quaint downtown, unique shops, and delicious dining. Visit Oregon, Wisconsin, where memories are made. See you soon.
Billionaire banker Eric Hovde has a plan for Social Security.
Do you favor either raising the retirement age or cutting benefits?
I favor both.
Raising the retirement age?
You have to start changing the retirement age.
Hovde wants to raise the retirement age as high as 72. And Hovde just proposed cutting Social Security by 28%, costing the average beneficiary more than $6,000 a year. Eric Hovde, what's wrong with this guy?
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing. Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
It's Brad Beasley over at Tundraland, Wisconsin's trusted jacuzzi, bath, and shower remodeler. It's our fall into savings sale at Tundraland. In as little as 1 day, you can turn your bathroom from average to amazing. Your new jacuzzi shower will be the centerpiece of your home. If you act now, you'll get free installation with no money down, no payments, and no interest for a whole year. Call 1-800-TUNDRALAND or visit tundraland.com today.
Tundraland.com.
This is Senator Tammy Baldwin. This is her life partner, Maria Brisbane, a Wall Street exec who makes millions advising the super rich how to make money off industries Tammy regulates. Tammy doesn't get home to Wisconsin most weekends. She'd rather be in New York at Maria's $7 million condo. That's why New Yorkers have given Tammy over $1.3 million. Tammy Baldwin's not Wisconsin's senator anymore. She's the 3rd senator from New York.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
Discover the charm of Oregon, Wisconsin. Enjoy the bike trails, parks, and outdoor activities, the quaint downtown, unique shops, and delicious dining. Visit Oregon, Wisconsin, where memories are made. See you soon.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Ooh, nice shot of that bridge there. Look at that water looking very nice.
Pretty day.
Very pretty day. And we can be getting more of that water soon. There's a good rain chance coming, according to the weather words. Isn't that right, Alex?
Yes, there is a good rain chance. And I haven't said a good rain chance. I can't even remember how long that's been. The last real appreciable rain we had was just a couple weeks ago where parts of southern Wisconsin saw a couple isolated showers and thunderstorms. And you have to march back to September 21st, 22nd, where we had a little bit of severe weather. But really, the rain machine turned off on August 31st, the end of August, and since then it's largely been dry. And there we go, sticking out there Thursday night, widespread chances for showers, could see some thunderstorms. And then I want to march you all the way to the right towards next Tuesday. That starts a several day pattern of the potential for some showers and maybe some thunderstorms as well. With this, we're going to have ups and downs in the temperatures. Our temperatures go down over the weekend to fall-like values. I really want to emphasize next Tuesday at 77. That's out ahead of a cold front. So with that chance of rain, with that level of warmth, we could be looking at some stronger storms in the Midwest. Here's a focus on Thursday night. Best chances for rain, 7 p.m. all the way through, let's say, midnight. And then as we head towards Friday at about 4 o'clock in the morning, those rain chances go down. It'd be a quick rain that moves through southern Wisconsin, and just about everybody can expect to get wet. In a little while, I'll show you about how much wetness you can get. So we'll track how much accumulation of rain we can expect in just a little while. 60 here in Madison. I did put the jacket on. I'm acclimating. It was 80, as we're all aware, not too long ago. So this feels a lot cooler than what you would expect across southern Wisconsin. But this is what it should be. 50s to near 60 degrees again here. Dane County, we got a lot of low 60s, right around 60 degrees. It's just a bit of a shock to the system to go from those really warm temperatures to what it should be for this time of year. As we plan the evening, this is what it should be for this time of year. Clear skies, temperatures falling through the 40s. Again, let's track those showers and some thunderstorms that we can expect tomorrow night, and I'll let you know how much the rain gauge will fill up in a little while.
Alex, thank you. A hearing looking to decide on whether to bring charges against dog breeder Ridgeland Farms is taking place today.
The Blue Mounds Company has been under fire for years from animal rights groups for alleged animal cruelty practices. Our Kyle Pozorski reports.
It was here inside the Dane County Courthouse where testimony was heard for alleged animal abuse practices taking place at Ridgeland Farms. Judge Rhonda Lanford listening to it all as animal rescuer Wayne Shung, along with 2 former employees of Ridgeland, spoke about what they saw inside the breeder's facilities. This included written and video evidence shown to the court. Scott Gilbertson worked at Ridgeland during the winter of 2021 and 22, speaking about his experience.
Were the dogs ever taken on walks?
No.
Did they ever go outside?
No.
Were they ever let out of the cages at all?
Only to be moved to the back portion where they'd be shipped out.
So they were only ever let out to move from one cage to a different cage?
Right.
The group bringing forth the hearing is asking for the appointment of a special prosecutor along with animal cruelty charges against Ridgeland. Reporting at the Dane County Courthouse, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Kyle, thank you. And we just learned minutes ago that the judge has decided to move this to a post-trial briefing where she will make the decision on whether to move forward or not to a special prosecutor. Kyle will have more on the hearing tonight on News 3 Now at 6.
Meanwhile, Wall Street slumping to rare 3-day losing streak. The Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ all down today as more steam continues to come out of the record-breaking rally after the S&P 500 set a record on Friday.
Early voting started Tuesday in Wisconsin, and there was notable turnout across several cities in Dane County.
Our Jalen Banks live in Verona, where he caught up with their city clerk on what they saw today. Jalen?
Armand and Merrill,
early voting turnout is very much still underway here in Verona. I've been here at the Verona City Hall since about 1 p.m. and when I got here, there was a line up against these main entrance doors. And speaking with the city clerk, they tell me they saw a line out of the door the first day of in-person voting. They also tell me a significant percentage of the city's registered voters have already cast their ballots already, which means come election day, they will have to process more absentee ballots.
We saw 520 voters come through yesterday on the first day of in-person voting. I don't have history, statistical records, but I've been doing this for 10 years, and it's definitely the highest number of voters I've ever seen come through in a single day.
The city clerk shares with me the percentage of voters that have voted so far in the city has been 22% of their registered voters here in Verona. Now tonight at 6, I'll have a statement from the state's election commission on how the high voter turnout that they saw throughout the state impacted some of the long wait times that they saw yesterday. But for now, reporting live in Verona, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
Jalen, thank you. We're continuing our 3 for the People coverage of the Madison City referendum.
Today, our Ellie La Liberté looking into how your brush collection could look different if the referendum doesn't pass. Ellie?
Yeah, Armand, Merrill, street maintenance is one of several services potentially impacted by the city's referendum. That referendum is asking voters to raise the property tax levy to address a $22 million structural deficit in the city's operating budget. If the referendum does not pass, this Madison Street Division will lose brush drop-off site availability, the free mulch program, and brush collection will be restricted to just 3 times at the curb. The department spokesperson says it's up to residents to determine if they want to keep those services.
These are the choices that we have to make without sacrificing some public safety and other really core needs that we have. Because otherwise it's do we pothole fewer streets? Do we plow a lot slower? Do we make these other choices? Or do we have to stop doing brush for a little bit? This is the choice that we went with.
And street maintenance isn't the only department that could feel cuts if the referendum fails. Library programming and hours could be cut, as well as some hours and routes of the Metro bus service. Now, if you're interested in all of these services and how it could impact your taxes, you can visit channel3000.com.
Ellie, thank you. Prescription drug misuse is becoming a growing concern across the nation. To combat that, Dane County will participate in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. This Saturday, you can help the cause by getting rid of any unwanted or unneeded prescriptions left in your cabinets. Earlier today, we heard from the state's Attorney General on how simple the process is.
This process just takes minutes. After you've disposed of those medications, law enforcement will then take care of safely disposing of them.
There are more than 155 events around Wisconsin. 3 of them will be in Madison. Those are at Elver Park, Warner Park, and Mount Zion Baptist Church. You can find other drug take-back sites at doseofrealitywi.gov.
Soon on Live at 4, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will join us to answer your plant questions.
Again, to submit a concern, send an email to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa will be answering those questions within the next 30 minutes. And up next, a sneak peek at this week's Wisconsin Huddle.
And a look at a new business headed to Beloit. We'll be back right after this.
The kindness, the efficiency, the respect was amazing.
From start to finish, they will take care of you.
Everybody is just so kind and everybody's so cheerful. I just never worked with a company where everybody seems to get along and they're all happy to be working for Cardinal.
Cardinal is the place to go for any type of work that you need done around your home.
I never hesitate with family, friends, neighbors to recommend Cardinal, and nobody has come back to me and said I was wrong.
Complete your roofing project now and get an 11% rebate at Menards. Your roof is the first line of defense against the elements. Owens Corning shingles are the #1 brand trusted by contractors. Choose from over 40 options and get a limited lifetime warranty and up to 130 miles per hour wind warranty. Get an 11% rebate on all Owens Corning shingles right now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
We hold the most powerful tool to make democracy work for Black Americans, and that's our vote. Registering to vote takes less than 10 minutes. Help protect democracy. Go to myvote.wisconsin.gov to check your voter registration status. In-person absentee voting begins Tuesday, October 22nd. City of Beloit buses will provide free rides on Election Day. Let's be all in and vote on November 5th.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
National Democrats have been a disaster. Higher prices, open borders, making our communities less safe. They can't run on their record, so they try to distract you by lying about abortion.
Here's the truth. I oppose a national abortion ban. Early in a pregnancy, women should have the right to decide. We should allow for exceptions. And finally, the people of Wisconsin need to decide this issue, not politicians in Washington.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
New at 5, an E. coli outbreak linked to McDonald's Quarter Pounders has hit Wisconsin. Find out if your local restaurant is affected.
First Warn Weather Team, we're tracking a good chance of rain for Thursday night going into the very beginning of Friday. Just how much water you can expect in your neighborhood, I have the answer at 5.
Ahead at 6, a major push to bring animal cruelty charges against one of the nation's largest beagle breeders for experimentation right here in Wisconsin. Hear powerful testimony as petitioners fight to move the case forward tonight at 6.
A new family-friendly business is opening in Beloit. Henry Door Bakers will be unique to Beloit and is named after the owner of the first bowling alley there. The GM describes the business as eatertainment with mini golf, pinball machines, retro arcade games, beer pong, and of course, food. The goal, to revitalize Beloit's downtown area.
Baseball stadium right down the road. You have wonderful restaurants. We have probably one of the best steakhouses in the, I'd have to say, in the state. Here in Beloit, beautiful hotels, wonderful golf course also. I mean, there's a lot of things that we do here in Beloit that are great. And then when you put it up against the backdrop of being on the river, I mean, you could say it's romantical.
November 18th is the business's opening target date. All ages will be welcome until 8 at night when it becomes adults only.
Well, the Badgers are in for a tough homecoming game as the third-ranked Penn State comes to Madtown this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
The Nittany Lions bring an undefeated record into Camp Randall Saturday night, and Penn State has had its way with the Badgers recently, winning the last 5 matchups, the last time in 2021, where Wisconsin lost by 6. Running back Tawee Walker sat down with our sports director Zach Hanley on this week's Wisconsin Huddle. He says he's ready to show the nation what this Badgers team is all about.
6:30 homecoming against an undefeated team, coming to our house where we just been on a winning streak and been looking good. I feel like it's going to be a crazy atmosphere.
We hope so. You can watch Wisconsin Huddle Friday nights at 6:30 right after News 3 Now at 6. One of our coworkers said that if Wisconsin wins, he says he wanted to put a bet in the newsroom of how many people think he'll shave his head.
Who's that?
Corey.
Oh my gosh, amazing. I hope they win then. Yeah. All right, well, up next, 11:04, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company joins us to answer your plant questions.
You still have time to submit them. Tips at channel3000.com.
I'm Joan Balwig, and I'm here to set the record straight. I support birth control, the life and health of mothers, extending postpartum care, and fertility treatments, including IVF. I'm Joan Balwig. I have always fought for Wisconsin moms, and I always will.
I'm working harder than ever just to pay the bills and provide for my family. But here's what Kamala Harris thought my money should go to instead. Job training for illegal immigrants, even after they commit crimes in America. Hotel rooms for illegal immigrants while our vets sleep on the street. Sex changes for illegal immigrants out of my pocket. Seriously, have these people lost their mind? Kamala Harris can never, ever be our president.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
We need leadership focused on addressing rising costs, prioritizing quality schools. But Elizabeth Grabe, endorsed by a group that would take power away from local school boards and put state bureaucrats in charge. And Grabe's backed by extremists who wanted to defund the police. Elizabeth Grabe, dangerously out of touch. Todd Novak is our trusted independent voice, helping families with rising costs, delivering funding for local law enforcement and emergency services, investing in rural broadband and our schools. Todd Novak for Assembly.
You have a clear choice in this election.
Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
When it comes to your critical medical decisions, you should have the final say. But extreme politician Joan Ballweg says you're wrong. She supports criminalizing abortion even after rape and incest. Or to save the life of the mother, Ballweg would jail doctors for giving life-saving care. And Ballweg even wrote the law that could deny women access to birth control. Joan Ballweg would put extreme politicians in charge of your body and put all Wisconsin women in danger.
We know we cannot have a strong middle class without American manufacturing. Under Donald Trump, America lost nearly 200,000 manufacturing jobs. His record is a disaster for working people. Under my plan, we will invest in the industries that built America, because ours is a fight for the future. I come from the middle class, and I will never forget where I come from.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message. Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. That's Kieski's record, expensive and extreme.
It's finally time. Lisa Briggs is here to answer your plan questions. Lisa, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm fine, and I've got a new best friend here.
Oh, amazing.
Wonderful. Well, let's get right to it, Lisa. Pat from Janesville says, I've heard two different suggestions about asparagus. First is cut it back in the fall. The second is wait until spring. What's your take on it?
I like to cut it back in the fall because sometimes if the spring is really early, those new asparagus come up quickly, and then you have to work around them to get the old stuff out. So once the leaves on your plants start to yellow, go ahead and cut it back. Leave maybe 2 or 3 inches of stubble, and then if you want a really good crop, put some fertilizer down.
Okay, and Teresa Johnson asked, do we need to continue to water our young trees now that the growing season is over?
The growing season is on its way out, but if you've planted this year, even though we had really good moisture through like the end of July, it's been really dry. So anything that you've planted this year that is woody, so a tree or a shrub or an evergreen, I would continue to make sure it gets a good soak of water once a week until the ground freezes, and that might be past Thanksgiving looking at the long-range forecast.
Oh, I like that. I like the sound of that. Well, Andy...
Don't put your hoses away.
And Andy and Florence Connors say, I have a begonia bulb that I've dug up, and it's over 12 inches in diameter. Can the bulb be split, and how?
So begonia bulbs, as they grow, it's sort of flat, and there's a depression in it. And that's where the new buds come from. So as his begonia bulb is growing, if it's in like sections, he just wants to look for those little dippy depressions. It's like a little nest, and those you could separate. But if it's all like this and then in the center, I would not split it.
Interesting. Dipping depressions, not something I would think about with plants, but interesting.
The best way to increase your begonias is through leaf cuttings instead of through trying to divide up the bulb. And so if he's dug it out and he's done with the leaves, that's over for this year, but it's really easy in the late summer to take cuttings and grow new plants from cuttings.
Got it. Now we have a question from within. Alex, our Alex here, says, if it's warm this fall and daffodils and tulips come up, what should we do?
Well, there's not a whole lot you can do. It's sort of like all of the lilacs that bloomed a month ago. So flower buds, plants have flower buds that they produce, and if they are blooming out of turn or out of cycle, if there's enough time for them to set new buds, then we might get, like, say, some lilac flowers next spring. If there's not, then they won't. Same with daffodils and tulips. If they start to flower, that might be their one shot, or depending on how long it takes the ground to cool down enough, they might have a few flower buds, few flowers next year. Now, the good news is that in the case of a lot of perennials, trees and shrubs, and a fair number of the bulbs that we like to have in the spring, that will not hurt them long term. It will just affect the flowering.
There we go. You hear that, Alex?
I heard it. Good.
All right. I think maybe we got time for one more from Pauline. My glad bulbs did not bloom this year. I don't know what the glad bulbs is an interesting name. And so out of the dust I would use for planting, will they bloom next year? And don't want to dig them up and save it if they're diseased for good.
It's hard to know if they're diseased without looking. You would have seen some markings or something on the foliage. It might be that they didn't produce flowers because glads usually produce like later in the summer, and it might have been it might have been a moisture issue, that there just wasn't enough moisture to push the flower buds. So I would dig them up. If the bulbs are in good shape, they're firm, they're not rotted or dried out, then I'd go ahead and save them and replant next year, and just make sure that maybe you put a little bulb booster in when you plant them and make sure they stay well watered.
There we go. The glads still have time to be glad and not sad yet.
Indeed.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Lisa. Have a good rest of your day.
You guys are welcome. You too.
And now we're going to go to Alex for firstborn weather. Alex?
Yes, first let's start off with planning our evening tonight. Temperatures, this is what we would expect for October. 50s dropping into the 40s, clear skies. The winds are going to die down tonight. That spells that recipe that we would need for frost. Here's another reason why, as we look at our capital sky cam, dew point is 34. The temperature 60, can never fall below the dew point, but that gives us an idea of how cold can we get overnight tonight. And we're going for a low very close to that, 35, starting off in the low 30s in the Wisconsin River Valley, 33 in Camp Douglas, 33 in Janesville. Those low-lying areas, the open areas, have a tendency to cool down a bit more on nights like this, and they could have a little bit of patchy frost to wake up to tomorrow. Then we warm up nicely, 63 in Madison, 65 in Janesville, and 66 in the Wisconsin River Valley. Out ahead of that next weather system that's going to bring showers and a couple thunderstorms already knocking on the door by the time we get to 8 o'clock near the Mississippi River. Widespread showers and thunderstorms, garden variety showers and storms. Not expecting severe weather at this point in time, but we can't rule out a little bit of small hail with some of these thunderstorms as they move through the area very quickly. And then it's out of here by the time we get to 3, 4 o'clock Friday morning. It's a quick moving weather system, and because of the quick nature, quarter, half inch of rain is what we're expecting across southern Wisconsin, and fairly widespread really over the entire area. And we'll take every single one of those drops with as dry as it has been, and we'll get an update tomorrow with our drought monitor. Expect a fall-like weekend, temperatures in the 50s to near 60 degrees. Wonderful weekend to take a peek yet at those few trees that are peaking right now with those fall colors. Then a big, strong storm system moves into the Midwest as we go into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Just taking a look at some of our latest models. If that cold front comes through Wednesday afternoon, that allows us to have another warm day, prime the situation where we could be looking at a couple stronger storms. So we'll be first to let you know if we're expecting severe weather with that weather system next week. And Halloween looking seasonable. No snow this year in southern Wisconsin as it looks like right now. We'll be right back.
My husband and I were elated to find out that we would be having another baby. But after many tests, my doctors agreed that we had to terminate the pregnancy. It was the worst day of my life. You should know that Eric Hubdy supports laws that stop me and my doctor from making that decision. And that's a ban with no exceptions in cases of rape or incest. It's a ban that could turn doctors into criminals. He opposes abortion, period.
WIN Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hubdy, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
With Sweeto Metal Roofing, you get quality metal roofs installed by the best in the business. A metal roof means no fading, no storm repairs, true sustainability, and lower energy bills.
Sweeto Metal Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Meet Sarah Kieski. You might see her walking around in her woke genius t-shirt. Radical, just like the groups that support her. Kieski supporters want to defund the police. Her allies want to give voting rights to illegals and make it easier for felons to vote. And Kieski is backed by a group that wants to let criminals out early. Want to know where Sarah Kieski stands? Just look at the company she keeps.
Well, take a look at this. Halloween is upon us, and one Iowa home took pumpkin carving to the next level. Look at all of those gigantic pumpkin guts. What the rest of us usually remove and discard.
Creative mastermind Greg Dietzenbach found gooey guts as great garnishes, from the torn and tattered orange stringy bits to the oversized seeds. It all drapes his home for a surreal and spooky celebration. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta get into that kind of level decorating someday. That's my new goal.
For real. All right, we'll be right back.
We forge steel bars that hold up bridges, propel ships, and send rockets into space.
But for years, China's been lowballing their prices, so it's been tough to compete.
We can't let China steal Wisconsin jobs, so I wrote a law to require American infrastructure projects use American iron and steel.
Tammy Baldwin got President Trump to sign her Made in America bill.
And then she got President Biden to make it permanent.
I'm Tammy Baldwin. I approve this message.
Tammy Baldwin has our back.
Not of money, I know. 20 of you, and you're rich as hell. We're going to give you tax cuts. We're going to pay you.
I am not rich as hell. I work hard. I scrape to get by. Donald Trump wants to give tax breaks to billionaires, but Kamala Harris has plans to help us. She's going to crack down on price gouging and cut taxes for working people like me. I voted for Donald Trump before, but this time I'm voting for Kamala.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
How extreme is Todd Novak? He thinks a woman's most private medical decisions should be up to him. Todd Novak has a 100% anti-abortion rating. He supports letting politicians ban abortion with no exceptions for rape, incest, or to save a woman's life. And Todd Novak authored the law to ban abortion here in Wisconsin. Elizabeth Grabe will defend abortion rights. She knows private medical decisions are between women and their doctors.
These Baldwin ads are nasty.
I can't stand them.
She never tells the truth. Now she says Eric Hovde wants to raise the retirement age.
That's malarkey.
I saw in the news Social Security will be going bankrupt in 8 years.
Are you kidding? We need Social Security.
You're surprised? Washington spends money like crazy.
And Baldwin supports all of it.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
You better get a job.
You get a job.
Well, that's a wrap for today's Live at 4. Armand's in the newsroom with what's coming up.
Tomorrow on Live at 4, Will Loper